The LV employee discount was kind of all over the place. I go into it more on my YT, but basically we would get 30% off new items, and this could only be purchased at your home store. You can go to a different location. It had to be available in stock. You couldn't transfer from another store, and it had to be part of the permanent collection, so nothing seasonal, holiday. And if it was a new item to the permanent collection, you have to wait 6 months after it released before you could purchase it. Better discount on leather goods, however, was from the return to vendor system, RTV. Bags that were damaged or, discolored or something that couldn't be sold to customers. For example, this Cabas Mezzo, especially this stuff, it has a lot of vachetta on the bottom. This is obviously very worn, but the vachetta would get discolored from being on display or just from, it would get nicks and stuff. So we couldn't sell it to customers. It would go to the RTV system. We send it all to the repair facility, and you submit a bid to purchase this. Everything in the RTV system was 70% off. But it was very competitive because you're competing with every employee. Everyone could see the inventory for that specific style. You submit a bid, you submit your credit card info. They don't even tell you if you win the bid to purchase it. They just send it to you. And we would get these at 70% off. This was limited, however, for full-time employees at the time, it was a $5,000 spending cap. For part-time, you could spend up to $3,000. Once you hit your RTV max, you couldn't buy anything for the year from the RTV for 70% off. You could still use your 30% off discount on new stuff. And then for seasonal ready to wear and clothes, those would go anywhere from 50 to 60 to 70 to 85% off. Sometimes they would have what I would call a fire sale, where all the shoes were discounted to $49 and you could buy as many pairs as you wanted. I think they limited you to a certain units per SKU. They let us invite friends and family to those sales sometimes. And that's the only time you could buy different sizes, because none of the discounts, except for the 30% off, everything was to be purchased for yourself for your own use. You couldn't buy items for gifts. It was to prevent people from reselling stuff. So they don't want you to buy multiple different sizes. They actually record your clothing size and shoe size to make sure you're only buying stuff for yourself, so that you can't resell it potentially. Also, if a collection was just being discontinued, like jewelry or whatever other accessories, watches. They had the tambour watch collection. Tambour means drum. It was this really ugly, gigantic watch. Those would go on sale for, depending on the style, up to 90% off, because it was the really blinged out diamond encrusted ones, which were $100,000. No one's buying that. New employees had to wait 3 months before they could purchase anything. Also, seasonal employees could not purchase anything. Even if you're full-time seasonal holiday, you had to transition to regular staff before you could buy anything with a discount.